There are things in life that you should never believe. Yota Tono learned that the hard way. Whenever he trusted someone, it was always him who paid the price. And when it came to girls, well, let's just say most of them were never interested in him in the first place. Nope, they just wanted to get closer to his good-looking, hot older brother. And for that reason, Yota had long since decided he was finished trusting girls. But there's always one exception, right? A particular girl who continues to try to get closer to him. Izumi Hojo. Yota goes about to class when Izumi greets him with a smile. Good morning, she says. Yota, obviously in no mood, grumbles back, morning, in the most grumpy, half-asleep tone humanly possible. But Izumi is not pleased. She continues to say, good morning, again and again, anticipating the correct response. Yota, playing the quintessential tsundere, responds with the most apathetic answers imaginable. On the fifth attempt, he finally loses it. Stop it already, I've said it back. Izumi leans her head to one side and pouts back, responding, well, I couldn't really hear you properly. Prodded into a corner, Yota exhales and speaks loudly. Like I said, good morning. Izumi smiles at him with the brightest grin. Right, good morning. And that's when Yota's heart skips a beat. He rubs his head in nervousness, thinking to himself, what am I all worked up about? Get your head on straight, you idiot. He goes on in his mind, Izumi Hojo, from my class. She's been coming to talk to me a lot these days. Adorable, popular, the kind of girl people say is a perfect fit for my third-year older brother. I'm sure she's coming on to him too. While Yota is busy overthinking, suddenly Izumi turns toward him, surprising him with a question. Hey, Tono, what kind of bread do you like? Hey, Tono, what kind of bread do you like? Huh? Why would you suddenly ask me that, he exclaims. Izumi then comes in super close with a playfully mischievous little, huh? Yota, taken by surprise, jumps back and screams, it's melon bread. Just then, Izumi's friend Urata leaps out from behind her like a jump scare. Then you should absolutely come by the cafeteria today. They'll definitely have melon bread, you know? Izumi smiles and nods. Yeah, what she said. And so the two girls make their way back to their classroom. Yota is left standing there, grumbling to himself, that girl really throws me off. And yet, a few minutes later, there he is munching on melon bread. Gym class starts and we catch Yota with his two friends. Since no names have been mentioned yet, let's just refer to one as friend number 1 and the other as Odi guy number 2. Odi guy number 2 suddenly asks. Hey Yota, Hojo's really cute, don't you think? Yota almost chokes, caught by surprise. Huh? Friend number 1 interrupts, you never know what she's thinking, right? That mysterious vibe of hers? It's part of her charm. She just does her own thing. Not only is she cute, but she's got great grades too. And she's good at sports on top of that. Behind them, we can see Izumi fiercely dribbling a basketball as if she's trying to kill it. Yota wrinkles his eyes at her. Is she really even pulling it off? Then Izumi gestures for the ball, asking for a pass despite being far too far from the hoop to score. Yota is thinking to himself, why does she even request that pass? There's absolutely no way she'll make it from there. Sure enough, she shoots and misses. But instead of being upset, she seems strangely contented. Yota facepalms in his head. See? I said you'd miss. So why are you looking so smug about yourself after that? Odi guy number 2 sighs wistfully. Man, she's adorable. And she only missed by a little. Yota gives him a deadpan look. What were you watching? Number 2 grins. Don't pretend like you didn't know. You were completely staring at Hojo too. Yota retorts. No, I wasn't. At the same time, Urata rushes over to Izumi. Good game, Izumi. Next up is me, so watch out. Izumi looks over at Yota, seeing that he was looking at her just now. And then she smiles at him. That single smile leaves Yota, friend number 1, and hot guy number 2 all speechless. Yota looks inside his head and thinks, hey, what the hell was that? Number 2 at once inquires. Wait, she was staring at me a second ago, right? She must have been staring at me. But Yota and friend number 1 respond in tandem, hesitantly. Yeah. Later, the cut is to Yota going out of his classroom, spacey. What was she doing, anyway? Hojo's been driving me crazy lately. The thing is, I just can't even start trying to figure out what she's thinking. But she's never even mentioned anything about my brother to me. Could it be, by the way, that she actually has a thing for me? For an instant he even fantasizes her saying in a soft, blushing voice, truth is, I'm in love with Tono. I just wish he realizes. Subdued voice, in reality, I'm a fan of Tono. I just wish he would notice me. But that dream quickly breaks when the group near him agitates. Isn't Rei-sama there? Someone yells out. Yoda looks around, and sure enough, his big brother Ray is indeed there, and to his surprise, Izumi Hojo is standing next to him, taking a notebook from his hands. The crowd starts to mutter. Who's that female? Isn't she a freshman? Yoda tightens his fists. Just as I thought, you were one of them too. Then, all of a sudden, the crowd surges forward, shouting, we're not going to let you get ahead of us. And calling out, Rei-sama. Amidst the commotion, Yoda gets pushed, trampled over, and left on the floor. He gazes up at the ceiling, seething with thoughts. It's always been that way as far back as I can remember. Anybody who shows interest in me is really interested in my brother. They're friendly, they pretend to care about me, but their gaze is always on the one ahead of me. That's why I could never trust them. But something unexpected occurs. Izumi shows up, kneeling beside him, offering him a handkerchief. Are you okay? She whispers gently. Why are you not pursuing my brother? Izumi hesitates, glancing back at the crowd briefly before focusing her eyes on Yoda once more. Because I found you, that's it. She offers the handkerchief in his direction with a grin. Come on, just take this already. Still shaking in shock, Yoda accepts it. Thanks. You're welcome, Izumi says warmly. And then adds with a teasing tone, don't forget to return that handkerchief, okay? That's my favorite. Yoda looks at her, his heart pounding, as his mind reels. I have no doubt. This girl is after my brother. I mean, there's no way. No way. No way I'll ever let myself be fooled again. And yet, his face is red as fire, whether he wants to admit it or not. Possibly, just possibly, Yoda Tono is falling in love. Possibly. Another day, another Rei-sama experience. The throng of girls around him can't help but fawn, whisper, Rei-sama looks so dashing today too. The scene then shifts to another batch of girls, sneaking from the corridor windows. She points, one of them bends over and says, hey, did you know Rei-sama's little brother attends school here too? Her friend gasps. Wait, for sure. Who? The first indicates, he's over there. The second blinks. Ha! That fellow. And then, naturally, the old follow-up. But if we approach him, perhaps we can get Rei-sama's number. True. Tono, Rei's little brother, overhears this and thinks to himself in exasperation, girls only come to me because of my brother. That's why I will never believe in them. Bro, just get over it or whatever. Relax. As he passes by, overhearing more murmurs, he grumbles to himself, this is why I hate them. At last, he arrives in his class. Urara immediately catches sight of him and says, ah, Izumi, look, Tono's returned. Izumi, who sits calmly behind his desk, looks at him and says, welcome back, with that air of composed calmness on her face. Tono scowls and gestures to his desk, don't welcome back me. You're occupying my chair. Izumi glances down as if just now noticing, and then jiggles halfway off the chair and with a good grief look on her face offers, you can share half the seat. Tono barks. No way I can sit like that. Izumi shrugs, stands up, and leaves. Meanwhile, the classmates exchange whispered words behind his back, lucky you, Tono. You'd usually sit there, right? Like us readers, they know he doesn't have it that bad. Tono opens up his journal and begins writing. But before he knows it, Izumi appears behind him, looking over his shoulder. Writing in your journal, Tono? You're sure of yourself, huh? Confronted with confusion, Tono turns. Huh? Before he could even do something about it, Urara pipes in. Ah, Tono, you also forgot. Prepare yourselves, quiz time it is. Even she just came to realize it. Izumi confirms with a smirk. Yeah, as she spoke. The quiz proceeds, and shortly after that, the results are made public. Tono flops with despair at a paltry 5 out of 50. The teacher declares, all right, the ones who have 10 points or less, don't forget makeup tomorrow. Surprisingly, Urara avoids flunking. And naturally, the popular boys have more face time as well. Number 2 hot guy laughs and says, don't mind it, Yoda, while matter-of-factly flaunting his 40 out of 50. Then number 1 guy chimes in, having been clobbered by a test you had no idea about must have been terrible. Easy for him to talk, as he got a perfect 50 out of 50. The nerve of this guy. And yes, last but not least, the hot guys get their real names too. Takayama and Mirai. Takayama, hot guy number 2, chimes in, maybe it's because you were chatting with Hojo before the test. You were so full of yourself. Tono rapidly disputes it. No, I wasn't. But the joking doesn't end there. Mirai and Takayama go off to the arcade, asking him to come with them, but Tono doesn't go. He has to study. On his walk home, he catches sight of the school library and thinks, perhaps a change of environment will do some good. Sitting down with resolve, he grumbles, I thought the change of environment Would do the trick, but I still don't understand. Suddenly, Izumi materializes standing behind him, gesturing to his notebook. Here, you got it wrong. Spook, Tono calls out, wah. The whole library looks over. Blushing, he buries his face in his hands and mutters, sorry. Izumi unfazed replies, studying hard, huh? Tono looks at her suspiciously, thinking, why is Hojo here? He observes her quietly, surprised. She's actually using the library. I thought she'd be at some fancy cafe after school. Izumi next picks up a book and sits directly beside him. Tono is shocked. She's reading a light novel? With a ridiculously long title? The prettiest girl at school teases me, so I nearly got the wrong impression. There's no way she'd actually be interested in me, though. That sounds a little too close to home. Izumi notices him staring. What? Tono blushes and hastily says, no, nothing. Then she edges closer. Tono stutters, why are you beside me? Izumi replies matter-of-factly, huh? Thought you needed assistance with something. Taken aback, Tono goes stiff. Huh? She indicates, look, you still haven't written a single thing. Tono thinks, she caught me. She inquires, is this from the quiz today? He confesses, yeah, it is. Tono remembers, didn't Takayama say Hojo was intelligent? This girl? Seriously? She zones out when she's reading books. Doesn't appear to be the kind to pay attention during class either. Meanwhile, Izumi has already checked his answers. Ah, you flunked. Tono groans, hey, don't do whatever you want. He speaks too loudly and the entire library glares again. Embarrassed, he drops his tone. Then in his defense, he asks, what about you then? Me? Izumi smirks and displays her flawless 50 out of 50, doodled with a little flower. She waves it in front of his face over and over again until at last he blurts, ah, you're so insistent. Izumi merely smiles, you asked. So, I will inform you of the things you don't know. Her face says she would like to explain it to him. Under duress, Tono acquiesces. Fine, fine. Izumi guides him through, step by step, and after having given it his all, Tono finally completes the assignment. He reclines back, exhausted but beaming with pride. Done. He checks the clock and sees how late it has gotten. He turns to her. Hey, Hojo. But looking, his heart misses a beat. At that moment, Izumi is simply exquisite. She stares back at him. Ha! You're done. Tono blushed and stammered, wanting to review his answers after Izumi finished quickly. She smiled, pointed at his notebook, and simply said, correct. His heart raced. Was she really interested in him? Suddenly, she glanced at her phone. Ugh, my mom's home, she said and left. Tono stood frozen, but the next day, he scored a perfect 50 out of 50.